let's see. Going through my stuff. MLB looking to return. We got a problem though, Hunter.
I saw this. They can't agree on revenue shares between the owners and the players, and I think it's bullshit.
Well, they didn't.
They're not going to agree on it. The players say that if they do it based on revenue, that's a salary cap, and the baseball players will not agree to any type of salary cap whatsoever. So they don't want to tie anything. They want the owners to play prorated, and the owners want them to pay by revenue, saying if we don't have any fans, we can't prorate your contracts. We can't pay your contracts. So that's the argument right now. Who's right? Who's wrong? So you're asking, do the owners take a loss on the season altogether by
paying out their contracts,
or and then you're going to have some guys
I hate
that
to tell these
even play.
baseball players. I hate to tell these baseball players, but the businessmen are in the right, because any business that's smart would play it that way. What's our revenue going to look like? How are we? When you run a business, that's what you got to look like. It's like, are we going to be in the red, or are we going to be able to stay in the black? And if it's going to get us in the red, then 9 times out of 10, a businessman is going to walk away from it.
Yeah, but the problem is you got two different entities clashing. You got the MLB Players Association against the owners,
and the baseball players don't give up anything.
Nope, they don't. They don't. It goes back to the last dance we talked about the other day, the strike year, and they're just like, we're not playing. And the owners had to ante up.
Hunter, to me, I think the owners, I think part of the reason that Major League Baseball does have that minor league system is to replace these guys when they do that. Think about it. If they didn't have any minor league system,
they couldn't do replacement players.
There couldn't be any threat to those guys. So
say, look, man,
that's their threat to the baseball guys.
Homeboy over here wants to play for nothing, but you think you can threaten me? I'll just replace you. He wants only like $25,000 to play this. I'll let him come up here and play.
I really think that's the built-in incentive of having so many levels of baseball. At some point, you're going to find 25 guys that say, "I'll play for the Yankees," or "I'll play for the Cardinals," or "I'll play for so and so."
I'll prove myself at this next level.
See, Jordan, he didn't have to. He had money.
That's the thing. He didn't have to. You're 100% right. And to him, why? It would have took away from what he was doing if he's playing against,
because he didn't get there on his own ability.
If he's playing against other minor leaguers,
I've always pushed for a salary cap in baseball, truthfully, because I think you'll get better baseball. You won't have these West Coast markets and New York markets that can just pay everybody out the ass, and all the smaller teams.
I just want a baseball team around here.
Well, that's true too.
I would love it.
North Carolina would be a good baseball state.
All right, so
you'd just be split everywhere. Braves fans, Nationals fans, and Cardinals fans.
Listen,
everywhere.
They've gotten to the point now where I want to make sure, because there's two topics they're talking: Braves. And write that down. And then what was we just talking about right before that?
We're just talking about the Players Association wanting money.
The last sentence somebody said, and I was going to say something about that.
You talking about a team here?
No, not necessarily.
Oh, I was talking about it would be like equal games, or you even playing field with a salary cap.
Right. There you go. That's what I was going to talk about. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about the salary cap. All right. I think the problem is that the floor, whatever the floor is that they have to spend, and there is no cap. They maybe not necessarily set. What if they set a cap at a certain point, but also a floor? And I know some of them already have floors and everything, but there's got to be some way where you say, to make it fair for the teams like Kansas City and whoever, to pay enough money to field a team. Like for the Angels to sign Trout for the same price as the Braves, 7 players. And the Braves said they're better than them.
Yeah,
and supposedly that investment, if that's the Yankees investing $40-some million into them, they expect them to win. And there should be some type of, if you're going to put that.
I mean, you just look at it.
There needs to be some type of floor to get the other teams to spend whatever
money.
Else it is.
And you look at the Garrett Cole situation. The Yankees just outbid everybody by a whole mountainside, and they were able to land Garrett Cole with the Yankees. Now, whether or not, if it comes down to the guy's a free agent and he has to choose between the teams and he just wants to be a Yankee, great. That's wonderful. But if another team out here could not even fathom thinking about putting that amount of money on the table without losing half of their roster, that's a problem. I don't like seeing teams buy championships, which has been the knock on the Yankees for years. If you're not a Yankees fan, all you'll ever say is they buy their championships.
I mean, the Marlins
they buy everybody.
The Marlins did what, twice, pretty much? I mean,
Yeah.
Then they
Twice.
stunk every time.
yeah.
else.
Then they got rid of everybody. got rid of everybody.
Once
but
you
they've got
can't
two
really
rings.
afford to pay everybody, but not
Think about it, the Marlins got more rings, Zach, than the Braves have, and the Braves have consistently been better than the Marlins have.
And that that farm system just keeps feeding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got a good farm system with the Braves, but
They do have a good farm system at the Braves. Just what I'm trying to speak of is like, so Garrett Cole is arguably one of the better starting pitchers in the league. I'm not going to say he's first or second. I'm just going to say arguably he's probably a top 5 starting pitcher in the league right now. And you can go ahead and say there was over 80% of the league was not even in his market of play. Not just because he doesn't want to go there, but for the price he was going to ask. These teams just weren't going to be able to shell out as much money as the other teams. And I'm speaking basically on three teams that probably could have shelled out as much money as they did. The Yankees are one of them. The Dodgers are another one. And then the other team would have probably been the Angels or another team in L.A. Houston maybe just to retain him. But besides that, Kansas City
just
can't,
for the money aspect.
For the money, Kansas City can't afford him. The Cubs maybe, but the White Sox probably couldn't afford him. The Indians couldn't afford him. The Brewers can't afford him. And some of those teams, Tampa Bay can't afford him because they can't even draw a damn crowd. But they're as good as they are. And it speaks to what Kevin was saying. You know, the Braves, for what was it? For our 7 players, we could have Mike Trout. But Mike Trout ain't winning nothing. We're winning. Like, we're making playoff games. We're on the rise right now. So there's no way in hell you could convince me to pay a player $400,000.
Would you trade your
$400 million?
Would you trade your 7 starters for Trout?
Hell no. There's not a bone in
I
my
wouldn't
body.
even think
But
about
Trout
it.
fans would be like, well, according to the stats, that's the way it adds up.
No. There's
Hunter,
not a
have you
player.
seen this ridiculous article?
I don't know. Hold on. But let me just say this. There's not a player.
I wouldn't trade.
There's not a player
Yeah.
like outside of, not even Mike Trout. I wouldn't do it for Yelich. I wouldn't do it for Bellinger. I wouldn't do it for any
I
of
wouldn't
them.
think my favorite player all time is Ken Griffey Jr. and I wouldn't do it for him
No.
because you can be the Cincinnati Reds when they had Griffey.
That's exactly right. If you don't have anybody around him, what the hell's the point?
I would just love to have an ML team around here, and it don't make quite a lot of sense because there's a lot of. I mean, this is a baseball state. I mean, look at the Tar. I mean, even from high school to American Legion to the Tar Heels, how good they are perennially every year.
NC State's gotten good at baseball too. I'll give them credit for that.
I would just absolutely love to have a team here. I think people would just flock to it, but.
North Carolina is a mixing pot for fan bases anyways. They're all transfers in
Can't be
Charlotte
no worse
area.
than the Hornets.
Transfers from up north in the Charlotte area, and they're rooting for Yankees and Giants and all those teams anyway. So very rarely do you see homegrown fans rooting for homegrown teams, and that would just how it would have to be for if Charlotte got a professional team. Only the kids that would be born and growing up around that team being here would they be fans. Other than that, I'm still going to root for the Braves. I'm still a Braves fan. Would it be fun to go to? Yeah. But I'm still going to root for the Braves.
Well, what's good about having a team is having other teams come into town.
That's what I was talking.
And you see it in basketball. The good teams draw good crowds in the NBA. But in the thing about baseball, it's a whole series. It's a whole weekend. So you can plan to go to one of the 3 games usually. When that happens, even when St. Louis comes to Atlanta yearly, we try to make a plan. Some years we don't get down because of football because they changed the schedule. But for the first 25 years of my life, they played on the same 2 weekends every year, and Atlanta and in St. Louis. We could plan to they're going to be in Atlanta this day. So I'm sure it's Wednesday, Hunter. Like he knows Monday and Tuesday. His show's on Wednesday, but let's call him whatever. Anyway. What was we just talking about? It's silly. I keep losing my train of thought. I'm done. What was I talking?
You're done. You're going to tell me
Braves
something
and
about
Cardinals.
this. Braves and Cardinals.
I mean, the Braves. Okay.
Yeah.
So we went through this already with the Panthers coming through town, and so I think the teams are more loyal. Maybe like the Red Sox fans, the Yankees fans, maybe, and the Braves. Those guys are embedded. A lot of them probably won't. That are older than 30, but there will be a lot of people under 30, especially people. 100. All the people in every yuppie in Charlotte will be a Charlotte whatever they are fan.
Oh, I know. Everybody that lives there said, "My city, city."
So you just expect.
You already see how they are with the Knights, and I'm not going to knock it. I like going to Knights games, but I prefer going when they're playing Gwinnett, when they're playing the feeder team for the Braves, because I got lucky last year. My uncle gave me tickets, and I went. and I was able to see, Fultonelwich. He was on, he was rehabbing down there, and he was pitching in Chiarte. Guys that were on, they could play at the next level, but they were just doing a little minor league stint. I got lucky to see them play. So I think that kind of goes into play with what you were saying. It's the other teams that are coming to town that you would get to see. I think I could get that, but fans just switching. There's no way my grandmother, who's a diehard Atlanta Braves fan, is switching to root for a
Cardinals,
Charlotte team.
Right. Well,
they're so
rooted.
I'm
too old. The family roots.
They're so rooted.
But anyone who's not a family, if their dad didn't watch baseball and they do, or anything
because
like that,
you could say guys under 30, which possibly if they live in that area. But I'm 24, but I've been a Braves fan my whole life.
Yeah,
I was there. I
went. Here's the serious.
I've just been down to games there. I'm tied to them.
So here's the serious difference between the Panther situation and the Braves situations and now. So when the Panthers came into town, the fans. So what are the most fans around here, Hunter? If you were going to name no, Hunter. Right now, name baseball fans. What are the most baseball fans
in the area?
North
Cardinals, Braves, Yankees, Red Sox.
Okay, so if
maybe Nationals fans.
How many
Dodgers?
How many of those teams are regional?
3.
Okay,
maybe. If St. Louis and Atlanta could be considered regional because you could pick up their broadcasts.
So
and the Yankees are just on everything. So
when the Panthers came, the favorite teams were Redskins, Cowboys, and Falcons. Okay, those are the 3 closest teams to the area.
Right.
When the Panthers came, it was 1 year that the Redskins won in 91, and the Cowboys had won a Super Bowl, 3 Super Bowls before 95. The Panthers came. So you're asking the local fan base who just saw your team win it. If you're 5, no matter how old you are, if you're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old and your team wins the Super Bowl in 91,
do you remember it?
In 91, are you changing to pull for the Panthers in 96 just because they live near you? Now, a lot of Falcons fans might have, but the Cowboys fans and Redskins fans did not change. And if you'll, not for the first few years. Now, the later Redskins fans, the people your age, like if your dad was a Redskins fan, the guys your age turned into Panthers fans.
Oh yeah,
because they had never seen.
Never seen a championship.
You've never seen a playoffs. 5,000 years.
Seen one playoff.
5,000 games.
I've seen one playoff. It was the RG3 playoff.
Right.
And
right
Kirk Cousins did make a playoff.
So, to me, it would be it's not as big of a switch as the football was back then because it was regional and those teams were coming off championships.
The only one that wasn't was Atlanta.
So if you're sitting here and bringing the baseball team in now, it's been 25 years since the Braves won a championship.
Yeah.
It's been almost 10 now since the Cardinals, 6 or 7 since I can't remember when the last year we won it. Do I got a shirt around here that says it?
Somewhere, I don't know. You're just looking around everywhere.
Yankees, Red Sox, these aren't regional teams. One on that.
The Red Sox are the only one that have won within the last 5 years.
So that's kind of my argument on why it might not even be. I think you would get a good start in your fan base. Like people like.
Well, why couldn't we just do this?
It'd be like if I took Judah there and him
right,
and he liked baseball, he might pull for him because he don't really know who the Braves are.
Okay,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
He see you wear them and he might just pull.
He
might just pull against you.
He saw this today and he says, "I got a small A, Daddy, on mine. I want the big A like yours." That's exactly what he said.
Yeah, but you're the small one.
That piqued my, but he's starting to notice logos.
Yeah, logos that for young kids that can really drive a kid. But what I was just, I think Charlotte would benefit if they just pulled the team out of Tampa Bay and put it in Charlotte.
That's honestly the best move.
I think that would be the best move.
If you're going to move a team. If they're doing, expansion, Portland and Charlotte's the 1-2 places for expansion.
For
baseball.
That's their 2 top spots.
Because we're already, if it's set in stone, we're already getting a soccer team.
Yeah.
In the coming years. So.
Sorry, Hunter.
What? I'm fine with that.
I know. That's why I'm saying sorry. I'd rather have baseball.
No, I'm just saying they're looking for markets. They're looking for markets because that's the one thing that they don't want to have is a Tampa Bay. These leagues don't want to have a Tampa Bay's and a Jacksonville where people don't show up to games and there's just empty stadiums. That's what they don't want to show. So they're seeing that Charlotte can at least draw a crowd if it's good. The Panthers could draw a crowd if it's good. The Knights draw a really good crowd because it's pretty.
They might have a little temperature on that.
The only one that
New Night Stadium.
Yeah, the only one that doesn't draw a crowd, but it's because they don't put a good product on the floor, is the Hornets. And the only time they do draw a crowd is when LeBron or Kawhi is in town. So, if you were to take Tampa Bay, the team that they have, because that team's good enough to make a wild card or a playoff in that division. They usually finish second behind the Yankees, so they're good enough to do it. If you take that roster, that manager, and that ownership and just move it to Charlotte, you would see immediate impact on the fan base because you're like, look, this is a winning franchise, and they just moved to Charlotte. And it's like ownership hasn't changed, players haven't changed, manager hasn't changed. All that's changed is the name on the shirt. So we're putting the same product on the field that just the people in Tampa Bay didn't appreciate. So we can go out to these games and see winning baseball. And if you kept them in the same division, the Yankees would come to town a lot.
All right, for example,
I think it'd be really nice.
I was looking at some attendance things real quick. You talk about Tampa.
I think it's like 3,000.
They average.
Horrible.
It says they average 14,000.
Okay.
It has a capacity of 25,000. BB&T Park in Charlotte has a capacity of 10,000. So you're not asking for that much more addition to that particular park if you wanted to come in. Now
I think they designed that park to go up anyways.
So let's say you bought a team. What they could do would be you leave the field, of course, is there. Everything is there. So all you do is cut off those streets and build up a little bit more. Like you just said, it's set to build. They would probably want to bulldoze all the stuff because that's what they do instead of just building on top of it.
Right.
But
we don't just rebuild. We destroy.
But just having double the seats on top of it, I mean, put you right in Tropicana's Fieldhouse. Now, do you want to take a chance and build a 40-some thousand seat stadium before you even win anything?
I think it would have
empty.
to. It would have to come
20,
down to ownership. Who the owners were.
Like Tropicana's 25,000, or do you expand to 25,000 and say, let's fill it first, then screw the taxpayers out in 10 years and say new one.
Build the 25,000. You want it to look full, and then do like Chicago did and build on top of the.
I think they would do fine. I think they do fine cutting out 5,000 seats. Let's make it 20,000. 20,000 people could go there. Yeah. How much does Bank of America fit?
60-some,
60?
68.
Then they hardly even fill that up really in the last 2 years.
They only fill it up when they're good.
That's what I'm saying. But I think that speaks more towards the Charlotte fan.
It does. I agree with you 100%.
The fan of the area. They're not going to go down there unless they're good.
Yep.
But why pay $100 to sit in the upper deck
you're
to watch
right.
the team lose?
And I think that's what makes the Knights at least more attractive to go to, because it's kind of like a crawdads feel. Not quite. It's a little, it's a little bit nicer than a crawdads, but it's reasonably priced unless you, of course, want one of the box seats or behind the plate. Reasonably priced. They've got good promotional stuff. And the AAA team's decent. Like, they're not bad. They're decent. And you see players that possibly be playing at the next level. I think for the price, that what drives people to go there is because it's like it's not going to break the bank for us to go down there and see a baseball game. Yeah. It's really not. And the only thing I don't like about it, I'm not sold on the location. I still think it's a pain in the ass to get to.
Yeah, and I think Kevin's mentioned this before, too. You're talking about pricing. Going to a Hornets game or something like that, you don't want to break the bank to go watch the Hornets.
No.
Take a family of 4.
Right.
It's going to knock you out, with food and everything else.
I know. My cousin takes her two sons.
You can either go 2 or 3 times a year and barely have any experience, sit in the upper deck and eat cheap hot dogs or whatever. You can go one time, stay down low, spend a lot of money. It's the amount of money some of this costs is ridiculous. All right, Zach, I've got some guys. I've got real quick. Tony Gwynn, his birthday this weekend. I had some stats on him.
Did you get the Facebook post on that?
I don't know which one you're talking about, but
you talk and I'll tell you if that's it.
He could come back to life today, strike out 1,182 straight times, and still bat over 300. Tony Gwynn never batted 400 in a season, but over 179 game span from 93 to 1995. So over the 94 season, but he didn't do it in that season. He batted 403. And in that stretch, Zach, he struck out 26 times.
You got stats, but not the same as they're on the same lines.
How about Pete Rose could return to baseball, go 750 for 750, and still have a worse batting average than Tony Gwynn. Intentional walks to lead off a inning. This is not Tony Gwynn, but here's you one in Major League history, Zach, to lead off an inning. Like you're the first batter.
Ricky Henderson?
Intentional walk.
Think about it. It ain't that hard to guess.
Oh, just not a leadoff hitter.
No, it's just he's at
but
the
not the one hitter.
Any inning. Any inning to lead off an inning.
It ain't that hard.
It's only happened 8 times in history. One guy has 5 of them.
Who is it? It's easy.
Babe Ruth?
Bonds.
Oh. Is it Barry
Bonds?
Intentional walks to lead off an inning. Now get this one. Bonds has 3. Every other hitter combined Bonds has 5. Every other hitter in the history has 3. So this is one of the times, Zach. In 1996, one of his intentional walks to lead off an inning was the bottom of the 9th, and they were down 1. The other team, instead of pitching to Bonds and letting it scared he would hit it out, walked him to lead off while they were up only 1 run. They put the tying run on first to lead off the inning on purpose because they didn't want Bonds to swing the bat. And then people today tell me how much valuable a walk is as opposed to swinging the bat. I mean, that's insane. So the other 3, Ryan Howard did it once, and Frank Robinson did it twice.
There's that name again.
It's funny you brought that up, and I'm glad you mentioned it because I want to talk about it. Tony Gwynn batted 300 in every season but 1. 300 batting average except for 1 is his rookie season. He didn't bat. That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Gwynn only struck out 3 times. 3 times in a game, 1 time. His whole career. I mean, he played at 20 years. You know, in his entire 20-year career, so he did play 20. His entire 20-year career, he only struck out 434 times. That's like 20 strikeouts per year, dude. That's like nothing.
How many years did you say?
20 years, 434 total strikeouts.
In 20 years.
20 years.
400 strikeouts. You know how many years it shit.
It's like that's not even.
How many did you say again? One more time.
434 strikeouts in 20 years. That's 21 strikeouts a year.
Basically, in the last, Trout has more strikeouts in his last 4 seasons than Tony Gwynn had in his career. Let me repeat that for you. Mike Trout is the greatest baseball player of all time, fans. In the last 4 years, he struck out more than Tony Gwynn did in his entire career.
And it gets even better. In the 94 season, Gwynn, and this is the time frame you was talking about.
Yep.
In the 94 season.
That's the exact season.
he hit 394, 475 PAs. I don't know what that
Plate
is.
appearance.
475 plate appearances. He hit 394. He was 397 with 2 strike counts. 397 with
down 0-2.
Okay, so in the last stat, Gwynn batted 302 for his career with 2 strikes on him. 302.
Think about what that number means, though. Those are how many times he gets a hit, not how many times he just makes contact with.
Yes,
and
you're
gets on base,
and you're getting a breaking ball a lot of times.
That's not how many times he walks. That's not how many times he gets on the air. That's not how many times he got a sack.
You're not getting a fastball
like
down the middle.
No.
So that you talk about best hitters all time, and I always thought he was definitely up there.
All right, Zach. I was thinking about this that you brought that up the other day. If I gave you, I'm gonna give you an outfield. Okay, you ready? Of Ricky Henderson in left, Tony Gwynn, and Ichiro. I mean, would you really worried about having someone like Bonds or someone else out in that Griffey or a home run hitter out there if you got
no, because
those
they're
3?
Small ball. They're moving people around.
Think about Ricky Henderson leading off.
Gonna steal.
Ichiro's second.
He's gonna steal.
And then Tony Gwynn third. And then put Pujols.
He's gonna put it in play.
Put Pujols or any other home run hitter you want at 4th.
Yeah, 1.
That team with those 4 hitters.
You could even have a crappy 4th hitter like Adam Dunn.
Or a Votto. He's a Votto.
That's it.
Put Votto at 4,
what I was thinking.
and that team never gets beat. You don't even have to have the other 5
and he's got
guys.
RBIs.
The other 5 guys don't even have to bat.
Hey, 4 spot, put Ryan Howard there.
There you go. That's fine, too.
He was a beast.
Don't get me started.
No, Zach, not according to WAR.
Really?
Do not get me started.
Hey,
Oh my
he
God.
is terrible.
He was
in
Listen,
war.
he
terrible.
was, he
in
was
war.
feared
I
for 3 years.
had a rant Monday. I did.
He did. He went that. I did not know that Ryan Howard was going to tip off.
And
Hunter
see,
on the,
I'm
on,
not a
on the
Phillies
war
fan.
stuff. I thought it would. Be,
I'm not either,
I
but
made
he
it
was
known.
feared for
Me
3
and
years.
you are Braves fans, and we know how good he was with that Phillies team against the Braves for at least 6 years straight. He won a World Series in his 3rd year in the league.
But
we went over the first 6 years. They were in first or second of every year. He was there.
MVP. He
won
was
the
in
MVP.
MVP
I know they had
voting
good pitching
twice.
too, but I think they had Cole Hamels.
I think if I'm not mistaken, his WAR was like
14.
and Mike Trout's was like 79. And I'm like,
I'm looking at it.
how the hell are they that much different?
Last year alone. Now remember this. They're saying in Ryan Howard's career, where he won 6 division titles, the World Series,
And an MVP.
and an MVP, and all that. Ryan Howard only helped his team win 14 games over a regular player. That's what that stat means. And what they're saying is, last year, Mike Trout made the Angels win 8 games. So in one season of not making the playoffs again, he had had more than half as WAR. In the last 2 seasons, Trout has had more WAR than Howard did his whole career, and he won a World Series. 6.
You want to know
playoff
what it
success.
is? Do you want to know what it is? It's because people stopped having the mindset that Michael Jordan had. If you win, I'm sorry, then that's great. All you got to do is win. This sport is not about.
stats.
It's all
That's
about
what they're
winning.
doing. It's the analytical people who will sit there and tell you that
Yeah, but
Jordan
see-
should kick it to somebody else. That the analytical people will say, get on base. If
I
I'm
can't
on
really
third,
speak much though, because I like stats too. But I like what I consider the right stats.
all right, Zach, if you're batting, guys on third, 1 out. If you walk, all that does is put
Runners
the
at the
onus on the
corners.
guy behind you. And then also what that does
Those double play in.
puts the double play into effect. Teams will walk a guy in that situation to put a guy on first, right?
Yes.
So if teams are willing to intentionally walk you, why would you be actively looking to get the walk when obviously it doesn't help you when a fly ball to right field, whether it gets down or not,
Get the runner in.
gets the runner in? And as a hitter, and every time I've been at the plate, if there's a runner on third, I'm thinking, I'm looking at the defense. Do I go right side, back side? Now, with that said, if hitters could just be like, well, I'm going to get a hit to right down the line, people would do that all the time. You hit the ball, and you can't help where the ball goes. So it's not – my thing about it is that why would you not rather have the guy, like, say, Pujols, who's willing to hit it in a deep grounder up the middle to get the run in or a fly ball down the right field line? If you pop it up and get the runner, that's better than striking out and walking to me both, because the guy doesn't move. And as a batter, I don't feel like I did my job. I passed it on to the next guy when I get the walk. And like I said, if I walk, and then now I got to steal second. And if you're a big guy, how many people don't steal now? Nobody steals. So to me, it's a weird way to look at that and say you don't want Ryan Howard the WAR there.
Dumb as shit.
And then, like, you know, and Tony Gwynn would be
Situational
considered.
hitting. The stats don't take in situational hitting. And I think there's so much more to that than there actually is. You know, it's not like stats say you close your eyes, you go up there, and you just try to hit the ball as hard as you can, and that's where it goes. And that's not how baseball is. You're hitting backside, left side, inside, outside, trying to move a runner over, sacrifices and stuff like that. It is.
I would think that Tony Gwynn, if you can't talk to him now because he actually passed away.
Well, yeah.
But to know what was in his mind and how good eye contact he had and what he could do with a bat, it would be similar to what you would say Tiger at his best could do with a golf club.
With a putter, like
you could make it do
or
stuff.
sand
Like,
wedge.
I want to hit this
wedge.
and this is right. It's different style. Look at him at Phil where he can hit these trick shots. He could probably, Tony Gwynn could probably do that sitting in the back. I know this pitcher. I know what he's
video
going
of
to throw.
Ichiro throwing balls at the bats at home plate. Oh my God! I'll pull that. Tony Gwynn used a 31-inch bat, and Bonds used a 32. For example, Jeremiah and Josh Johnson, when they were 16, were swinging 34s.
Yeah,
like it's two totally different approaches to what they're. I didn't finish that. I'm trying to look at Babe Ruth's bat size. You remember what that was? It was like
I want to say 30. It's a big one. He had like 34, 35.
36.
Yeah, it was huge.
36.
I can remember it standing beside him how tall it was.
38-ounce bat. So Tony Gwynn's using a 31
Yeah.
28 ounce, 10 ounce less bat.
And if
of
you think
wood.
about
10
Barry-
ounces less of wood is what Tony Gwynn's.
And you
out there
think about
swinging.
Barry Bonds, I can always remember how small his bat looked when he was holding
And
it.
he choked up too.
Yeah.
He not only used a 32,
Right.
he choked up. So he was pretty much using a 31-inch bat is what Bonds were using.
And
that's
he was
the
muscling.
contact.
He was muscling it out.
The smaller the bat, the better you're going to do at contact.
Yeah.
And you're trying to lose those big bats for leverage.
Yep.
Is kind of exactly what you're trying to do. Hunter, this is the most ridiculous thing on the ESPN I was talking about. They ran a story on how good Trout would be in the Korean Baseball League.
Who the hell cares? Who the hell cares? I'm gonna say, who the hell cares?
They ran a whole story and ran the stats on it. What his stats would be if he played in the Korean Baseball League.
So was the guy that they brung over here from
Shohei Ohtani.
No, the one they brought. He wasn't in a Korean league. He was. He came over and played
How
for
does that guy not get more press?
He come over here for the Yankees and played years ago. They called him Godzilla.
Arabu? Hideki Arabu?
No, that was for him.
Oh, the
original
Hideki Matsui.
Yeah, he was like, yeah. I mean,
Dude,
why are
Hideki
you?
Matsui was so good.
Uh,
He really was.
You like
I'm a
Matsui?
Ichiro fan.
I love Ichiro. I mean, Ichiro, when he made that throw from the outfield and hosed that guy, I mean, that was the. Have you seen the Roberto Clemente throw ever from right field and one come off the wall? He didn't even step. He just pivoted and threw it all the way.
That's one thing I like a lot is to watch somebody, especially in right field. I like to watch somebody in right field.
Yeah, that's where the hoses are usually.
I like
they
to
gotta
watch
throw to
somebody.
third base.
I like to watch somebody at right field throw to third or home.
I'm gonna pull this up. All right, watch this. This is Ichiro. A little drill he was doing. Just throwing balls at bats. Catching and
I like
That's
Ichiro.
sick. It might even be fake. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Look at
I wouldn't think he was good.
I bet you take
Sato.
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, just he's a stud.
The game.
Whoops. Sorry, hit that button.
Might be a new.
Sir.
That might be my next jersey.
Prematurely.
My next jersey might be Ichiro.
And
I looked at it a
Ichiro-
couple times.
The Mariners jerseys are pretty.
That's what it is. I looked at it a couple
There are
times.
some nice.
I'm just not a
jerseys.
Mariners fan. I just like Griffey and I like Ichiro.
Jordan rocking those Black Sox hats too. Him and Bo Jackson. Bo got to wear them for a time. Those things
I
sold
looked up-
like
I looked up some-
hotcakes. Y'all that was the most. Y'all think Yankees hats are annoying now all over the place? Oh my God, those things were everywhere. And then the Yankees started doing. Well, I guess
Those Sox hats.
pink Yankees
Man,
hat,
look,
whatever
I'll
every
tell you
color
what.
there is.
I think the Braves got the best hat.
Oh
But I think
God.
the A is the best.
That's
I
aw-
like
that's
the A that's got the chop with it.
awful,
It's got the tomahawk with it.
awful hat.
I like all the Braves outfits. I like the Cardinal stuff too.
I don't like the Cardinals hats. I've never liked the
You don't like the STL?
I've never liked the STO at all.
Really?
To be honest, when they went the birds on the bats, their Sunday hats, those things are delicious with the cardinal on it. Real quick, all right, Hunter, we got any news or notes? Anything else you want to talk about? One thing I do want to do before we get out of here is we've been skipping on the fun a couple weeks. No Mount Rushmores, no starting lineups, none of that. We've been kind of goofing around a minute. So I tell you what, Hunter, since you mentioned it, we'll go to the Mount Rushmore of baseball hats.
Ooh, I like that.
Who's your top 4 team hats? I'm going to pull them up. The team
Top 4
MLB
Major League Baseball
team.
hats.
This is all
official-
time?
No, just
This year?
We'll go
just
the
what we
official
use.
team hats.
Official team hats. Technically,
Because those pirate hats were bad.
Anything they use now that's not a throwback is fine.
my
Like if they got two or three
technically
hats.
one of my favorites. The team really hadn't been that well. They've been decent. I love the Diamondbacks. I hate that they changed their color scheme from the black and teal and that they had to just basic
you want me to
red.
go off for a minute on that one? I mean, you've got purple and teal in your colors. The Charlotte Hornets that nobody else has. You won a World Series. Why do you change your colors when winning a World Series? And what color did they change to?
Basic red.
How many teams have red? We're looking at it. Let's say
the Randy Johnson years Diamondback stuff was cool.
right, but
Oh, yeah.
the purple and teal and stuff. So this is all the teams that have red already: Angels, Braves, Cardinals, Cubs got some red in them, Indians, Nationals, Phillies, Reds, Red Sox, Twins. 9 other teams have red, and they decided, you know what? Instead
Let's
of using
switch.
purple like the Rockies, the only
Right.
other 2 teams that have it, let's do wine red.
So
I agree with you.
that's mine. The first one
that
that I'll do is the Diamondbacks. Second, I'll go with, just because I like the cartoon look of it, I like the Orioles hat. I like the Orioles colors in general. I like the little Oriole on the top. I like the Atlanta Braves hats when they wear their. Well, I mean, I like the look of the original Atlanta Braves hat. Don't get me wrong, but I like the ones that they wear where they got the tomahawk in the middle, along with the A. I like those a lot. So that's 3.
Shouldn't there be some like a way I can look up all the
I
team hats?
I can't find it either. I'm looking up.
So dumb. And then.
Just because
I don't know, because baseball hats can get kind of boring because a lot of them are just their initials.
Yeah.
You know,
I
just,
like the STL, so I can't say anything. I like the Atlanta. I like the St. Louis.
I mean, I guess, if I'm going to go with my 4th, because I wore it for a few years when I played Little League, I'm going to go with the original Florida Marlins hat because that thing was sick. The Marlin swimming up the F, dude, that thing was tight. I don't know about the Marlins now, but that Florida, not now, I'll preface with this. The Florida Marlins, not the Miami Marlins, the Florida Marlins. I like that a lot. So there's my 4. Diamondbacks, Florida Marlins, Orioles, and Atlanta Braves. Those are my 4 favorite, my Mount Rushmore for the hats, baseball hats.
You wouldn't think it would be this hard to find.
I know. Good
a
luck finding it.
picture of just all the hats. I've got most of them here, but I'm trying to find like the second and third hats just in case for some of these teams, and maybe a couple throwbacks here and there. I'm going to do 2 here, separate lists. I think. Let me make sure. I think I can do something here. I'm going to do that. Yep. All right, Hunter. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite hats. My Mount Rushmore of hats.
Yes.
This isn't all time, but because I would substitute, I would have the Expos in there if I could, and they're not in there.
Or even the old White Sox. Old White Sox.
I would also have the Chief Wahoo Indians in there if I could, but that's discontinued.
Well, I mean, I said the Florida Marlins one. That's discontinued.
Yeah, I think we need to go with.
We need we need an old hat one too.
Yeah, just put
whatever,
one on
yeah.
there.
But I'm doing the current ones. My current ones that are actually hats right now.
Yep.
I'm gonna discount the Cardinals Sunday hats. Those are my favorite hats, no matter what. With the birds, the navy blue tops, red hats, no matter what, those are my favorite hats. Now, with that said, the other teams, if I was putting them, my favorite ones are Blue Jays, Orioles, A's, and White Sox. Those hats catch my eye and attention, and just look better, I think, than all of them. And I got different colors across my board on accident, but I got a blue hat, an orange and black, a green and yellow, and then the solid black and white hat. That White Sox hat is just iconic.
Yeah.
The Orioles hat, I just love that Oriole bird. I'm Zach. I don't like letters.
Yeah.
As symbols. So I know you're covered in A's over there.
Yeah.
I would rather see the tomahawk than the A as far as you guys. I know you don't play around with the Native American logos anymore with these teams, but same with the football helmets. I don't like letters, numbers, anything on the like this. I like symbols, I guess is the best way.
Yeah, and I think maybe
to
I'm the
put
opposite
that.
because I like the old Giants hat where it says Giants, and you hated it where it says Giants across it.
Actually, I like it better than their helmets now because they don't. No, you know why? They don't play in New York.
They play in New Jersey.
And then you
They
you're
should
talking
say
about
NJ on it.
you're talking about like I'm with you with the A's. I like the A's. I like the Braves. I like the blue and the red. Both.
That A's with the yellow hat with the yellow bill.
I love that.
And green top. I mean, just
I've always liked any Toronto hat just because it was different. You got the old
the
one
Blue
up
Jays
there.
hats always look good. That's my favorite one. Is
yeah.
the white front.
You got that one. The one that they got now is very similar to that. I like that A's. I mean, that
There's Hunter's
Diamondback.
Diamondback.
Sorry,
That's the Diamondback.
That's Hunter's Diamondback.
That's the
hat.
Diamondback.
but that's a different era. And I like the
I
Indians.
think they use the A still, just instead of it
Yeah,
being
they
the
do.
purple.
It's just different color, which is stupid.
It's like gold and red.
I do like the Indians hat from back in the day, and it's up there. I hate the Yankees. I loathe even seeing the Yankees hat.
See, that's the best
That is,
Diamondbacks.
and there's a Randy Johnson shirt. It's his jersey. It's awesome. I want that. But So I've got A's, Blue Jays, Braves.
Yeah, you got all of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
A's,
you
Blue
got
Jays.
almost every single one of it I've listed.
I got everything but an A's.
Yeah. See, this was the
This
coolest
Hunter's
one.
Marlin.
This was the coolest one. The Florida with the Marlin hat, with the Marlin.
That was the original. That
Yeah,
was the
that was
96.
when they were in Florida. That was when they were in
96, I
Florida.
believe.
Not my, that well, they were still my. That's when they were called.
This
The Devil
one-
Rays.
Is a cool ass hat. If I'm putting this as a random
Yeah. Just
thing, a third hat, this is my favorite. You know where I wore this, Hunter? And the reason I bought this, I was coaching coach pitch baseball, and our
you were the
team was the
Rays?
Rays.
Okay.
And they
just
ordered.
looked cool.
Well, all the kids got kids hats. We didn't order coaches hats, and so I didn't have a hat. And I went and got one of these, and I'd had won this. I think in one of the things, and I was like, well, this. So I coached in this.
Nice.
Like the old John Oliver. This is me down coaching the coach pitch with my Rays hat on. So that's where that actually
Nice.
ended up in the collection.
Very nice.
But, yeah, so.
I think somebody gave me that Reds hat. I'd have never got one of those. That's garbage. F the Reds.
And old,
That's some Cardinals hate.
an old hat that I would like would, and you talked about the white and black Sox hat. I like the red and blue and white Sox. Remember the red, blue, and
I
white?
didn't like those.
You didn't
at
like
all.
those?
I
Oh,
had
like
those.
a Knights shirt, like a Knights just shirt, and it was retro night. And instead of it saying White Sox and with the red line and the blue line and the coloring, it said Knights across because they're affiliates of the
Yeah.
White
Right.
Sox.
And-
And I liked those because they have those as well. It says CLT on them. For
I
Charlotte.
like all Pittsburgh hats with a yellow
Yeah.
top or a bill.
I want them to get away from the P though and bring the pirate face back.
That thing was pretty
that
cool.
thing was
And then I
sick.
like the Brewers glove. If people don't know, the M, it's actually got the letters in the logo. Same thing with the Montreal. Like you have to look for the letters and some of the letters in the
You
logo.
don't have it. The New Mariners hat's nice. It's like I think it's like an M with like a diamond in it. Some
Yeah.
kind of a. It looks cool.
All the Cubs is garbage. Go Cardinals. All right. Anything else
Nope.
Dave, before we get out of
That'd
here?
be it.
All right. Let's. We're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna get out of here. Hunter's got to go help Tim Johnson, whether he knows it or not. And we'll be back in a. We'll see you guys next Saturday. And then on Saturday, Hunter, we've got to preview. I guess people can't hear that. We'll stop that for the folks at home real quick. Saturday, we've got to preview NASCAR racing this weekend, all coming up. So we got to make sure. See if Jesse would like to talk to us. I know he's racing. Is it Monday or Tuesday? I don't know if
Whenever
he would want
Xfinity
to. I
runs.
don't know if he'd want to talk to us Monday. He might want to rather talk to us Wednesday
I'll see if I can reach out to him.
and see what he thinks and maybe give us some info. Either way, it'll be after the first race back from Darlington, and maybe he have some fun and
I'll reach
insights
out
on
and see if
things
he's
that happen
available,
down there.
if he's available. Well, I don't know. With it coming back, his schedule might be actually a little bit busy now.
Yeah. All right,
So we'll
guys. We'll see you next time on Shock Johns. Kevin Hastings, Zach Mayhue, and Hunter Yancey in the house. Thanks for listening. KTC Sports, watching live on Facebook, listening where podcasts are made.